This Chat with the Experts is brought to you by Angie's List on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Chat with the Experts, brought to you by Angie's List. I'm Kyle Hawk, and I'm joined today by Brian Granger of Restorex Disaster Restoration. And we've been chatting about how to handle flood and fire disasters when they take place in your home, and we've got some more helpful information to come, including your listener questions. But first, we want to share some helpful tips about smoke alarms. It's a segment that we call What's Trending. And in a recent article for Angie's List, Washington, D.C. writer Jason Hargrave stresses the importance of a smoke alarm in a piece titled Working Smoke Detector Key to Saving Lives. And the article begins actually with a story about how one Rockville, Maryland family with 4 children was saved from a fire that destroyed their home thanks to a working smoke alarm. Now, in the United States, 96% of homes have at least one smoke alarm, according to a survey by the National Fire Protection Association, but only 74% of those alarms are actually working. And the leading cause of non-working alarms includes missing or dead batteries. And we've all heard the nuisance of a beeping alarm telling us it's time to change the battery, but homeowners often disconnect or even remove the battery to stop the noise instead of actually replacing the battery. And according to Jason's article, batteries should be changed regularly, and even alarms that operate on the house electricity have battery backup, so it's wise to check those as well. A good rule of thumb is to change your batteries twice a year, so a good way to remember that is during daylight savings time when you set your clocks back, take a look at your smoke alarms and switch out those batteries. Now, along with making sure that the alarm is working and everything is considering the placement, the NFPA standards require an alarm on each floor of the house, and they should reside outside of each sleeping area and in each bedroom. While individually installed alarms work just fine, those that are interconnected are more likely to warn inhabitants of the home, especially if the fire is in an unoccupied location. You can learn more about how to keep your smoke alarms working and where to place them by visiting the National Fire Protection Association website. It's nfpa.org. You can also read more on the subject by going to angieslist.com/articles. You can read Jason's article and a whole lot more. All right, now it is time for the part of our show where we take your listener questions. It's called Consumers Ask, and every week we take some questions from Twitter, Facebook, and our online Angie's List Answers Forum, and we bring them onto the show and get you some answers straight from our guest. And today that guest is Brian Granger. Brian, are you ready to help these folks out?
Sure.
All right, let's get started with a question from Christine. She wants to know what's involved in an inspection after a disaster in the home. So once you come in to do that inspection, what's going to take place?
Right, so we'll come in with some specialty meters, and we'll be poking and prying around to see what, first of all, caused the problem, and second of all, what it affected. If it's a situation in a basement, like a sump pump, and it's from the ground up, that's a little more cut and dry than it would be if your 4-story mansion bathroom overflowed and trickled down through 4 stories.
Yeah.
So the actual length of time just depends on the severity of the damage.
Yeah. So what's going to take place? Let's say that you do the inspection and now you're sitting down with the homeowner to have the discussion. Are there questions the homeowner should be asking? What kind of information should they expect to get from that?
Sure. What we want to do when we typically go and look at a job is we want to figure out, okay, does this justify placing an insurance claim or not? And if it doesn't, we're happy to give that homeowner some free advice. You know, if it's just, it looked like maybe something, but once we got there, we actually put a set of meters on it. Turns out it's nothing. We can kind of give them some free advice to save them a little bit of money, especially Angie's List customer. We want to look out for them. Yeah. If it is enough damage to justify an insurance claim, at that point, we'd have them contact their insurance company, let them know that they've had a problem, let them know there's a contractor involved, and let them know that we're placing a claim, we're going to go ahead and get the cleanup started and get an adjuster involved.
Yeah. How much is the inspection generally going to cost somebody?
We do free inspections, so we're happy to come out and take a look. We do a screening process on the phone, and we'd be happy to come out and take a look, see what they're into. If it turns out there's nothing, like I said, we're happy giving some free advice and send them on their way.
Yeah.
If it turns into a job, obviously, then we would be billing the insurance company for our services.
Yeah, that leads well into this next question. Beth is asking about her insurance claim. How does a company work with her insurance to make sure that all the repairs are going to take place? We all know what a hassle it can be, especially when you've gone through something traumatic and then trying to deal with the insurance company. What happens on your end in working with the company?
Sure, absolutely. Restorex is a specialty insurance contractor. So what we want to do is we work with the insurance company to settle the claim. They want to have paperwork. They want to have pictures. They want to have readings. So there's a whole file that we put together that we can present to the insurance company to make sure that the homeowner is covered. Once a cleanup takes place, whether that be for mold or water, we'll get an insurance adjuster involved. They'll come out, they'll take a quick look at what we did, but they're more involved in writing a repair estimate to get the homeowner put back the way they were before any of it happened. At that point, we'll review the estimate once it's available, make sure they included everything that it's going to take, and they will also be reviewing our water mitigation estimate or mold mitigation estimate to make sure that they're comfortable with it. Then they'll issue some payments. So they'll issue 2 separate payments, one for the cleanup, one for the repairs.
Okay.
So at that point, you can go ahead and get started and get the rebuild process going.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron asks about emergency service. Can most restoration companies respond 24/7?
Most restoration companies that you're going to find on Angie's List advertise that, yes, they will respond 24/7. Once you start calling around at 2 a.m., I can't promise all of them, but we do answer our phone 24/7. Now, most time we're going to try to push that work back until the next day. We've found over the years that we're a lot more productive whenever we start things fresh first thing in the morning as opposed to rolling out at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. and everybody's walking around like zombies. But yeah, absolutely. If there's some type of an emergency and the customer wants us out there and they have some coverage, we're happy to go out there and take care of it anytime.
Yeah, I mean, how soon after, I guess, for example, significant flood damage, should you be contacting your restoration company? How do you know when you need to do it immediately or if it can wait to the next day?
Sure, I'd encourage people to go ahead and give them a call. A lot of times they'll push it back till, if it's 2 a.m., they'll come out first thing in the morning. But it doesn't hurt to give them a call, let them know you've had a problem, and just kind of give them some peace of mind by talking to a professional and kind of explain the process. I know a lot of people are frazzled when a situation like that happens, as they should be.
Of course.
And so, I wouldn't hesitate to give them a call and just let them know you're having a problem. And especially in a big event, if there's pipes freezing or if there's rampant flooding, get on their list so that you can get some help.
Yeah, no question. That brings us to something interesting. We talked earlier in the show about frozen pipes this time of year, that being a cause of flooding. And I remember last year about this time doing a show, and that was a subject we were talking about. And it's kind of like, oh, well, people have heard it all before at this point. They know what they need to do to keep their pipes from freezing. But as people are bringing up, well, it still happens. And it's a good reminder to bring up. So can you share a few tips with us about what to do if you know those overnight really freezing temperatures are coming, your pipes may be in danger? What should you do?
Yeah, for one is, pay attention to the weather report. If you see that we're going to be -10, you can leave your faucets running and that will help. A big thing is if you go on vacation, if you're in a position where maybe you go down to Florida for the winter, good for you. But there's 2 things you should do. One is turn your water off, and 2 is leave your heat on. And then also have somebody coming by to take a look and make sure that, everything's okay back at your house. But those are a few things that you can do to kind of, at the end of the day, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Right.
Houses here in Indianapolis, the Indy area, they're not insulated as if we were in the northern part of Alaska.
Sure.
So if it's -20 or something like that, everyone's susceptible, and that's just part of it. But, if you do those few things, that'll at least potentially help you from having to deal with something like that.
Yeah, no question. Any preventative measure that can be taken is a good one to take.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it for all of our listener questions this week. As always, a big thank you to all of you out there listening to the show and providing your questions. If you've got one you want to ask, find Angie's List on Facebook and Twitter. Ask your question there or go to our online forum. It's answers.angieslist.com. You can ask your question, get some responses from other service providers and homeowners right there, and we may even pick your question for the show. Brian, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show to talk with us today. It's been great to have you on, and we really value your expertise.
Well, I appreciate it, Kyle. Yeah, Angie's List has been a good partner for us, so we appreciate you having us on here.
Excellent. When we come back, we're going to chat with Angie's List reporter Tom Lang, and we're going to discuss how to handle repairs when it comes to your apartment. So stay right here. You're listening to Chat with the Experts, brought to you by Angie's List.
More than 2 million members use the power of Angie's List to find and hire great local service providers. Whether you need a plumber or a pet sitter, Angie's List has you covered. See ratings and reviews in hundreds of categories, shop popular offers, and request scheduling assistance directly online. Memberships start at just $9.99 per year. That's less than $1 a month. Join now and get 40% off with promo code WIBC40. Visit angieslist.com today.